Super Tuesday. The hair is the same. It's so true. Hey everyone, this is Digital Charcuterie. Thank you so much for joining us today on our Super Tuesday live show. I'm James, and joining me is Steve and Scotty. Hi guys.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, thanks for joining me as always. For those of you who don't know, what we do on the show is we talk superheroes all day long for an hour, I guess, maybe around there. As long as Steve can hold off his internet for, we'll talk Star. We're going to talk superhero stuff for. If you have an email that you'd like to hear us discuss on this show, you can email us at digitalcharcuterie@gmail.com. I'm going to put that banner down below so you can check it out, read it, and go right into it. And so what we do is we get emails, we talk about them, we have other topics that we just want to talk about, and we get right to them. So guys, before we get started, I do want to touch on Morbius for just a second before we get to our emails, because Morbius is coming out. Apparently, this is true. This is a real movie now. It's Morbius.
I have a ticket, so it's official.
It's official. Steve, we're going to be going to see it in a packed theater. It is packed. But from what I'm hearing about this movie, guys, is like, now things are starting to come out, right? Like Spider-Man there's no Spider-Man in this whatsoever. So I guess spoilers, if you don't want to be, I don't know if this is spoilers or not. This is not, all of this is like unconfirmed, I believe. Scotty, you might know a little bit more about that. But so what I'm hearing though is like Vulture was like cut out of this movie. Like he's cut out of the movie. He's just a post credits. Like all the stuff we saw in that second trailer or that final trailer that I loved, apparently it's gone. And now it's just a post credit scene. And in that post credit scene, you get a glimpse of Craven, which is shooting right now. So it kind of makes sense that they would want to do that. But Scotty, you've been researching up on Morbius all day today. What are your thoughts on all this news that's been dropping?
It's crazy news, and what I know of it is that none of the big like leaker, scooper people are trying to refute any of this information. So I don't know the exact source of who's like, oh yeah, they butchered Michael Keaton's character, pulled him out of it, just like they did Leto's Joker. I'm making a whole video on Jared Leto and like films that the 2 films he's been in now that are just having like the best parts of them pulled out of it. So hopefully I'll be able to get that out before this movie comes out. But I don't think that like Michael Keaton is going to be the big focus of all of this. And it being a post-credit scene keeps taking me back to the fact that they're introducing a new power, I think, with Morbius. This trailer shows him phasing like in and out and stuff like that. And I've been watching the animated series. Obviously, this was like forever ago. Never does that phasing stuff in this show. I don't know if he's doing it in recent comics or not, but I really have a strong feeling that that's going to cause him to cross over into MCU territory somehow. That's why Vulture is even in the picture. Kind of what I'm sticking to.
That's interesting.
I've got a decent track record here with DC, so I'm going to take a shot here with Morbius. And it's a lot of fanboy dreaming too, because I don't know. There's just something with his ability to phase.
That fanboy dreaming is interesting that you would say that, because I feel like DC, they kind of had like the Snyder stuff, which is fine, but they haven't really gone into the fanboy dreaming. Star Wars kind of repels it a little bit, but the MCU, it's like giant fanboy. You know, that's like a fanboy dream over there. It's like Feige's kind of like, give the fans what they want. That's kind of how he feels. Steve, you've heard all this stuff. You got your ticket for Morbius. Are you afraid at all that you buy your ticket for a horrible film?
Just a little bit. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's gone. Ooh. Oh, I like that. Oh, that's gone too. Ooh. So now I feel like I bought a ticket to watch the end credit post credit scene, and I just got to sit through the movie to get to that point. So I mean, I hope it's not like that. I hope there are ways that it ties in throughout the movie, but I'm not optimistic anymore.
This is the thing, though, is I heard people say that it's a mess and it doesn't know what universe it's in. And like, are we at a point now where it all has to feel like it's in a universe? Like, can it just not be its own thing? Like, do we have to see the connective tissue to enjoy this movie? I mean, I haven't seen the movie, so I can't say one way or another, but can't you go in and watch Morbius without worrying about if it's, you know, with this Spider-Man or that Spider-Man?
if it wants to be its own thing, I'm all for it. Congratulations to them, but don't be putting Vulture into the trailer. Don't be putting the murderer on the Spider-Man sign in the background. So don't tease it, because that you're setting up. But yeah, if it wanted to be its own thing, let it be its own thing. I'm fine with that. I get you. I'll give it a shot, but I don't know. I feel like that bait and switch.
Scotty?
I think I'm hoping that they're trying to build that Sony Spider-Man universe. And I was just kind of looking at the cast listing for Morbius. They don't have a character that was in the cartoon. Her name is hold on, it's right there on the tip of my tongue. Moira Crawford or Maria Crawford. She works for the Hardy Foundation Research Center, and it's a place I think that Morbius works, where he's trying to like do this cure serum to cure his disease. But this character, the girl, was also the girlfriend of Kraven, and she caused Kraven to become a madman by healing him with some kind of a serum, and that's why he becomes all like jacked, super strong, super agile. There could be little connections. I believe I did hear there's gonna be a Kraven type of a posty situation in this film.
Yeah, what I heard is that the post credit, this is all rumor obviously, but the post credit scene for Morbius is Vulture in prison, and he kind of gets a sheet of paper. There's like a picture of Kraven, and he's putting together his team. And I think that's what he wants to talk to Morbius about, is joining his team, which they're putting together the Sinister Six. For what purpose? If it's not Tom Holland, which would connect to Vulture, who knows? Like, what if there's no Spider-Man? Why do you need a Sinister Six other than to maybe put out take over the world or New York? I think we talked about this weeks ago. You put Miles Morales in here, or like Spider-Gwen or something. Put that in this universe. Let Spider-Man exist. That's really the only way to go about it. But Morbius, for better or worse, is coming out. All right, guys, let's get to our first email question. Let's go right here. Hi, James. Heard that WandaVision will not be getting a second season. I loved the first and wanted to hear your thoughts. Thanks, Keith R. Yeah. Have you guys heard about this? That the Moon Knight director, they're all being interviewed because Moon Knight is coming out now, and he said one of the things that he loved about WandaVision was that Wanda kind of goes right into her next movie, right, which is Scarlet Witch. She goes right into Multiverse of Madness. And they go on to say that, maybe there won't be a second season. So kind of alluding to not being a second season. I like the first season of WandaVision. I felt COVID kind of did it wrong in some spots. And there's obviously the Ralph Boner joke, which is the worst thing Marvel's done in a long time. And for a lot of reasons. It was but I just, I think... I think it's fine if there's no second season of WandaVision, because I don't think it's the kind of series that needs one, especially when you're in the MCU, where each of these individual series is basically a second season of the series itself anyway. So, Scotty, what do you think about no second season for WandaVision?
I think it's cool. I liked the show as a standalone, setting up her trying to bring her kid or her family and her dynamic of wanting to start something with Vision. I think it was a cool idea to do the spinoff with the one agent there and Darcy. Give those two like a series. I don't know. Everybody jumped on that for a little while.
They were pitching that.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that story set up a lot of things with a White Vision too. They just made recent announcements that they're gonna be shifting away from Marvel and Avenger movies set in New York City. I think that was pretty obvious thing that they're going to maybe do West Coast Avengers, which is where White Vision kind of gets his whole thing started, his hero arc. And I know that Hawkeye is heavily involved with West Coast Avengers too. So I don't know, man.
I like that
idea. We set up a lot of stuff. Oh yeah,
I like that idea. Stay away from what we've got and let's branch off into new stuff. I like that.
Yeah, and the Agatha one too. That Agatha spinoff, I think, is gonna be underrated. I think it's gonna go back in the past a little, but I'm confused by that timeline because at one point she's in New Salem, hiding with a bunch of other witches. Nicholas Scratch is her son. I think that was the rabbit in the show. She calls him Scratchy, and she's like talking to him. So I don't know if they're gonna do a flashback to what she was doing before that, or if she's now hiding out in New Salem with a bunch of other witches, and that's what her show is.
Yeah, I want that one kind of. That show threw me for a loop too, because it seems like the MCU is like such a well-oiled machine that like everything has a purpose, right? It's like this show serves the purpose of this, and then but this one like kind of comes out of the blue. So I'm curious what purpose it could serve overall.
So this is spoilers for comics. Agatha Harkness is a mentor to the Scarlet Witch as a ghost in her afterlife. So when she dies, she's still around. So Agatha is not going anywhere anytime soon. She's heavily involved with Doctor Strange and the Scarlet Witch specifically. So she's a big factor in the whole witchy side of things.
Steve, you hear this? Maybe no WandaVision season 2. Is your heart crushed? Are you just so far on with Morbius that you're so into Morbius that you don't need any other comic book stuff?
No, I enjoyed WandaVision season 1. But the way that they ended it, I understand why there doesn't necessarily need to be a WandaVision season 2, because it taught the way it steers off and right into Doctor Strange. For me, I didn't really click with the Agatha character, so I don't really care too much what happens with her. Where they left her, that was fine. But you touched on it before, White Vision. That I'm really curious. That's the biggest little thread that they left dangling that I'm curious to see what are they going to do with, because I don't see them bring him into the movie, so what do they do with it?
Sorry, Scott, go on.
I was just gonna say they're not done with the WandaVision stuff by a long shot. I think any type of demon with any kind of power over her is gonna be using him against her. Any Avengers style like allies are gonna be trying to use him to bring her back, kind of stuff. So we'll see more Wanda and Vision, I think.
I did a video about Midnight Suns, which you've been really touting a lot, Scotty. You're like, they're doing Midnight Suns. You've been all over that, and it was a video from an article from like a year 2021 sometime, and the roster they had was like Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch, Moon Knight, and like some others were thrown in there with Blade, whatever. But there was no mention of Punisher, because at the time of that writing, Punisher wouldn't have been they wouldn't have had any thoughts. There would be no reason for Punisher because he's just a Netflix show. But now the Netflix stuff has moved over, so you could see maybe Punisher joining the Midnight Suns, and maybe I don't know how Doctor Strange is going to go, obviously, but maybe Agatha plays a part in the Midnight Suns movie that they're developing. What do you think of that?
I could see that.
Yeah,
I could see that.
Could a Doctor Strange variant play a role?
Interesting.
I'm real curious about the evil variant and who that guy was that says things just got really out of hand or whatever, that guy. Because isn't there like supposed to be a Strange tied up with all of the Ultron gauntlet thing and What If? And he's like caught in that power struggle now with Killmonger. So isn't he supposed to be kind of babysitting them or whatever? I don't know. It's real weird.
It is. The MCU is weird. I like that though. I do, Scott. What I do like is this direction that they're taking it, where they're going to do the supernatural stuff, and like West Coast Avengers sounds like, I like that they're going to do that. They're not just going to stick to their guns and be like, well, this is Avengers 2.0. Like, move on from that. Give me more Shang-Chi stuff. Bring it, elevate it more like that, and take us out of your comfort zone for a little bit. And you know what? If it doesn't work, if Werewolf by Night doesn't work, which I'm looking forward to, if that doesn't work, don't do it again, right? Just move on. You're Marvel. Sure. You have the ability. You have the ability to push through the stuff that doesn't quite work, and I like that they're taking a chance. And that's one of the things about Agatha. I wasn't crazy with the Agatha character in WandaVision. Just I was like, whatever. Like everyone knew it was Agatha, right? Like the whole time we're like, it's Agatha and Mephisto, two characters. By the way, Mephisto is rumored to be part of the Midnight Sun movie in some way, shape, or form. And I just want to say one thing to that point. Either use the damn character or say that you're never using the guys. I'm so sick of, like, that was my least favorite part of what. but my least favorite part of WandaVision was the Mephisto theory. Like after every episode, now the couch. It's like, oh my god. But and the thing is, my argument was, the character can come in anytime they want, but the character doesn't exist in the universe as far as we know. So there's no reason to believe that the character is in anything that we watch, other than we want a character that we know from the comics to show up. They've never alluded to the character or anything. So there's no reason for us to be like, I'm excited for it. Like Thanos, at least at the end of Avengers, kind of turns his head. You're like, oh, so that he's out there. But Mephisto, like, there's no reason to believe that character is there in any way, shape, or form. It's
the dark side, James. It's because we know that the kids were in the comics. We know that they were what are they? They were fragments of Mephisto's soul. So at some point, like, he is using them 1,000% to try to pull her to the dark side. And fans are just latching onto that. They're like, dude, if they don't do this and they don't do it right, I'm gonna riot. We're you know.
Which, don't get me wrong, I love, but there's no reason to like be all in on it, because there's no like, we haven't got a shred of evidence in what we're watching to even like, if you ask someone who's never heard of that character before, they would not suspect anything, which will make a great twist when it happens, but like, we shouldn't expect it to happen, because that was one thing I didn't like about the Scarlet Witch reveal of the name, Steve, was that is like, you are a Scarlet Witch, and we're all supposed to be like, oh, but it's like, but the Scarlet, if they would have mentioned earlier on in an episode, like, the Scarlet Witch is a urban myth about, you know what I mean? Like, if there was a history to that name, but there isn't. It's just like, you're a Scarlet Witch. It's like, well, what does that mean? Like, that was, for me, that I understood, like, the excitement factor of it, that they finally had the rights to use the name, but also in the context of what we're watching, who cares? That was my problem. I was like, it fell flat for me.
It's just a title. Yeah, I agree.
I go super sweaty with it, bro.
No. See, I'm not faulting if you're excited. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, in the context of what you're watching, if you aren't someone who's familiar with it, they like, it would have been nicer if, like, an episode. Like, you remember that episode, the episode where they flash back to the Salem witch trials? If they would have been like, if they would have even mentioned Scarlet Witch in that moment, right? You just build it up like, okay, what is the Scarlet Witch? I don't know. Like, they just kind of like name her that, and you're like, oh, so she's a powerful
even
witch.
Even now, we still don't technically have any real reasons to be hyped about Mephisto. And the one thing that I grasp onto now is in Shang-Chi, the Dweller in Darkness. He's technically one of the Fear Lords. So, like, he is in that whole circle of trust with Mephisto. They just killed him, if that's what they're calling it. Other than that, though, like, no, I think after Moon Knight and after Multiverse of Madness, we're either going to know or not know things about Mephisto purposely. And Captain America, the file, Nick Fury hands him a file. You zoom way in, new Rockstar style, enhance. The word Mephisto is in there, and there is information about him. So,
really?
Hydra, who knows, dude? Who knows? China. Isn't that the problem, though? Like, everyone keeps blaming them because of the whole, like, devil thing. I don't see it. I don't see that Marvel is going to either. I don't think they're using that as a factor. They're going to tell their story, I feel like.
I think so, too. I think they're good. Steve, anything you want to add to that?
No, it's a good theory.
You were all about Mephisto. Every day he's like, that's Mephisto. Agatha's Mephisto. The duck is Mephisto. Everyone's.
We kind of breezed over the Midnight Suns of it all there, too. But they're definitely going to be, like, heavy Blade, Punisher. Like, Punisher's coming, man. He is. They're going to announce that somewhere crazy.
I think you're right. They got all those.
He could be a post in Moon Knight. Honestly.
And I think the thing is, if you see, so I've heard that Moon Knight is like dark, but not overly dark. It's like MCU dark, so it's not Netflix dark or thing. I'm curious how they, like, if they do bring Punisher in and what they're going to do, because look, things are changing in the MCU. Like, when you bring Blade in and now Moon Knight, you have to go just a little bit more adult oriented, which I think is also fine, because the kids that are kids can enjoy, you know, the other movies, and then the adults can have their movies in their quiet time and say, "Get out of here." So, anyway, it's.
Did you hear the thing about Blade today? Did you hear the thing?
No.
The thing that the
No,
guy
I've been out
we all
all day.
watch?
What?
Dude, so people are talking about Blade potentially being a period piece. 1920s, 1930s.
No.
Yeah. Big grains of salt with that one. A channel that we are very familiar with is saying big grains of salt with that.
Are there any?
But,
is there any basis for that in the comics or anything? Like, have they
I'm
done
not
anything
sure.
like that?
I'm not sure.
I'm not familiar with him being a
Yeah, I
character
mean
piece
this is going way back. So, was he around for that long? I don't know.
Yeah, worked for Wonder Woman, so why not?
Yeah, right.
That's Captain America, Wonder Woman,
there.
absolutely. No, definitely not. That's interesting. I'm very excited. I'm very excited for Blade. I thought the first two Blade movies were phenomenal. I thought I'm really excited for Blade.
Yeah. So if the Blade attached to the Black Knight and being familiar with the Ebony Blade, maybe our Blade, the guy, is old and does have history with his family. That'd be sick. The Black Knight,
Old Man Blade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows?
Absolutely.
Do it all. Do it all and then multiverse it and do it again.
I think everybody's a fan of the MCU, but I think everybody kind of agrees like the MCU needs to make some sort of change. You know what I mean? Like not a change, but they need to grow in a few ways and become something more like out of their comfort zone. I'll just call it what it is, their comfort zone. They need to get out of that comfort zone. And that's a cool way to do it.
Do you think they need to? Do you think they got to compete with the dark DC stuff and that DC has to have their happy-go-lucky? I'm just a question.
No, I think they have to grow in a way organically grow. Like not just go from like, PG-13 to triple R. Like they need to like find a way though, because as your kids are like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, they become 10, 11, 12, 13. Like they start growing and just let them like the Harry Potter franchise. I think is a great one to compare it to, where they and not the same. Obviously, it's more hyperbole, but like those books kind of got a little bit more adult as they went on.
For sure.
And I think the MCU might, I don't want to see someone's head get chopped up and blood coming down, like not a Tarantino movie or anything, but like just kind of like mature just a little bit. But then you stop your fight, you can go back and forth, and I think they've kind of been dabbling. I think they're going to dabble with that more. I don't think they necessarily need to right now, but I think for longevity of what they are for the genre, I think it's in their best interest to kind of go above and beyond.
And they're really good at towing the line between like a comic and realism. Like the Tony Stark death, bro. That was heavy, bro. So they kill people in all kinds of ways, and we all know the Avengers have a really high body count. So, yeah.
You know what? We have to see what Moon Knight does. Like Moon Knight might be where they need to live. Like might be like the peak of where they need to live for now, and then in like 5 years, you go okay, just a little bit further. But I think the idea that there's superheroes and their comic book stories. As much as I love the DC and the Snyderverse stuff, I think maybe there is something to be said for, you being able to bring your kids to the theater and enjoying Iron Man. Whereas right now, like I love the Batman, but I'm not taking my nephew to go see the Batman anytime soon because it's not for him. And I think there is something to be said for both, and I think it would work if Marvel is doing this thing though where they have different like West Coast Avengers, like you said, Midnight Suns, blah blah blah. Then you could even split it up in that way and be like how it kind of was with Netflix at the time, where it was like, you guys enjoy your Infinity Saga, you guys enjoy your Netflix saga, and then and then they can live like that, and then they can all come together in like a PG-13 world. I think they would all live together fine there. That's where I am. Steve, what do you think?
Does it need to come together? Do you really need to tie in every aspect of the universe? I don't. I think they're doing a pretty good job of keeping it where it needs to be.
Yeah, I think eventually we'll get up to Secret Wars, and then that's where everybody will just be on screen all together. 300 named cast members.
I think they're going to want to bring everybody together because they're going to want that box office. And I think movie theaters are going to want that as well because you want, you want the event film that everybody's got to go feel like they have to go see. And if we're all watching all these other teams, and then eventually some big catastrophic event happens, and they all have to come together, then I think that's what we're going to want.
But do you pull the people? Do you pull the characters from the Marvel Cinematic Universe TV shows to put into that? So do you put WandaVision, Moon Knight, Loki?
Now
do
you do.
Do you bring them in? I don't know. I mean, there's
Now you do.
some
I don't know about Loki.
some fans out there won't be familiar with it with the TV shows, or won't be familiar with the box office movies. I mean, if they see Loki, they'll be like, "Oh, didn't he die? What's he doing that?" Like,
Right.
I think if the bigger it gets, the harder it's going to be to bring everything together.
I agree with that, man. I think it would be sweet if the Midnight Sun stayed right over here, just keeping the demons at bay. You know what I mean? Maybe working with Doctor Strange every once in a while. But
maybe. I don't know if that's what they want, though. I think they're going to want to throw they're going to throw everything in the kitchen sink in at some point, for better or worse. Steve, you know how I am. I'm like, I like my small stuff. I'm like, give me a nice, like, a self-contained story. Your dog is really not happy. I like self-contained story. Yeah.
I can hear him back there. Really?
Not my dog.
All right, let's move on to our next email question right here. Hi, Digital Charcuterie. Kite Man. I am so excited for the series. I love the Harley Quinn show. Do you guys watch the Harley Quinn show at all?
I've seen the highlight reel.
Is it available for us here in
Robin?
Canada?
It was available for a time here, but it's not available to like stream anywhere. It was on one of our channels. I can't remember. Actually, our friend Jeff told me about it a few years ago. Right?
I thought
for you, but in Canada we don't get that.
Yeah, we don't get a true version of HBO Max.
There's my favorite joke. You can watch this isolated clip on YouTube. Is the Joker finds out that Bruce Wayne is Batman. Have you guys seen that clip?
No.
And he's like Bruce Wayne, and the Joker complains about how he ordered his electric car and he still hasn't got it. And he's like, "Where's my electric car, Bruce?" And it's so good. And look, I think the Kite Man thing. The first thing with this Kite Man thing is they say like they're developing it, so they don't even guarantee that it's happening. They're like, "This is something that we're kind of thinking about doing, but we don't really know." I think I'm all in, man. Like
cartoon. Is this cartoon
animated? Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm in the dark on this one, man. You're gonna educate me on this today.
Is Kite Man like a runaway breakout star of the Harley Quinn show?
I think he might be. Oh, I just want to say the short channel just asked the question. Short channel, we'll get to that right after this email question. We'll talk about your question here because I know Scotty's got a lot to say about that as well. I think, Kite Man was he's got funny stuff. I think it's brilliant though. I think you take these mediocre small characters, use them in this show like Harley Quinn. It's just an off the wall gag show that's for fun. It doesn't have to be serious. Like DC does a great job with their serious animated stuff. And I think they could do it. And if they're doing a good job with Harley Quinn, continue that. Make it good stuff everywhere else. That's where I say to take it. What about you guys?
They do a great job with their animated stuff, so I'm down. They really haven't had a bad animated show.
Is it stretching too thin? That'd be my only question. Is it stretching?
I would say if they were like, there's a theatrical movie, but I think like a goofy off the wall animated series about Kite Man. But I mean, was Peacemaker stretching it too thin?
To me, it came close.
Right?
I liked it, but it came close.
But
I was gonna say, is this character just like an animated Peacemaker? Like, is he kind of?
And 3, Scotty, you said earlier, release the Ayer cut. We know where you stand on that. I'm a huge Zack Snyder Justice League fan. I even own the Joss Whedon cut of it just because I wanted. It was $5 and I bought it. And then I watched and I said, "Oh, this is not good." The Zack Snyder one, though, people argue like it's too long all the time. And my argument against that is it's called the Zack Snyder cut. Like it's a Snyder cut. And I think because of that, it's allowed to be the length it's allowed to be exactly what he wanted it to be without interference. There's a reason why you get studio notes and stuff like that. Now, his studio notes were obviously different, but there's a reason why. And there's, if you have a problem with the length, that's it. But in terms of 2 and 3, I don't know if we're going to get 2 and 3, but something is brewing we're getting something with the Snyderverse. I think we're more likely to get something on HBO Max that might not officially be Justice League 2 and 3, but it might be a variant of 2 and 3. It might be 2 and 3 disguised as something else. Scotty, what do you think?
Yeah, actually, my friend just tagged me in a post today about the merger with I almost said AMC, with AT&T acquiring all of these properties. They're gonna they're gonna put Discovery Plus and HBO Max into one streaming service. I think a lot of Snyder stuff could live there. I think maybe even Ben Affleck's Batman could potentially live there, and they could do his stories. I don't know about a 2 and a 3. A 2 would definitely be cool. And like I said, I mean, Jared Leto is on board with Ben Affleck if it's Snyder. So, I mean, anything to get that guy back. I hope AT&T understands that, like, the fans all want this stuff, man. It has nothing to do with the political. Whatever happened during that situation, I feel like happened. And if it's water under the bridge for a majority of the people, you know, on the side that we care about, and they want to make more stories in this property, why aren't you? You know what I mean? That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, Steve?
Hopefully, if they can get themselves sorted out and figured out where they want to go, then I think there will be a Justice League 2 or 3. Like you said, it might not be in those terms, might be, you know, veiled as something else. And I don't think you're going to get it with all the exact same characters. You know, here's a continuation from Justice League 1. I think it's going to, you know, pick up who you can and introduce new characters to make up for it, and away you go. I would prefer it if they had it, if they followed up on the Nightmare Verse storyline like that. That would get me the most excited for it. As you know, I'm not a huge DC guy, but that has me interested.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that would be for me. That's where it's all leading to eventually, anyway. And I don't know where you want to go, but we talked about a little while ago that idea of maybe an HBO Max series taking place, a limited series taking place in the Nightmare universe. But again, the Batfleck thing, they're really, the fans are big on that. Everybody wants that. I think though, for me, you got to get Cavill back. There's rumors of him, you know, them wanting to bring him back. And I think in those rumors, whether they're true or not, one thing that they keep saying that is being said is that Superman is one of the most iconic characters globally, which is absolutely true. Everybody knows Superman. Superman is iconic everywhere, and yet they're not utilizing Superman at all. Even in the Flash, it's going to be Supergirl, which is fine. I'm okay with that. But Superman is everywhere.
Absolutely mind-boggling.
It means absolutely nothing. It's crazy. We got this one here from Plonky, I want to say. Sorry if I say your name right. Yeah, you guys, Scotty. You want to read that, Scotty?
Dude, yes. I want the original Flash with Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Thomas Wayne Batman. Think it could happen? I want it to happen, bro. Maggie from The Walking Dead as a Joker?
Yeah.
Woo, let's go.
And when Jeffrey Dean Morgan took that role, in Batman v Superman, he acknowledged Flashpoint. He acknowledged that part. He's like, I know what Zach's doing. And I'm like, I want to know what he's doing. Let's do it. I'm with you on that one. I think
he said it doesn't even matter. He's just like, wait, what? Yes.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're too far. Even if we do get more Snyder stuff, I think that's too far gone. But I'm with you though. I want that to happen.
I'm going to press back. We're not too far because it has nothing to do with Batman and it has nothing to do with Snyder. This could be a Flash property. They could put Jeffrey Dean Morgan and her in the Flash movie. Do it.
Well, I think they could have done that off the get-go, but they did. They went with Michael Keaton instead.
Well, no. Again, Michael Keaton is Bruce Wayne. So this would be a universe where Bruce is dead, and this would be them, and it would be not a Flash movie, but it's Flashpoint live action.
Okay. All right.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but in the animated one, the female is only in that flashback laughing. I don't think she shows up later on in the movie, but it's mainly Thomas Wayne trying to help the Flash, right? But anyway, I don't know.
I'm in. Bring him in. He was excited for it. I'm excited for it.
I just want Jeffrey Dean Morgan with the red Batman eyes just once.
But I'm going to. I think the DC storyline is too far out of reach for that to happen. Yeah. I would love it. Don't get me wrong. I would want that to happen.
And come back around,
which they could do anytime. As the minute you do one reboot, you could do it again. I think the idea that Ben Affleck's Batman is not going to be dead by the time we finish the Flash. I think that is the best thing they can do. And if he was supposed to die, maybe that would have been great and it would have worked very well, which kind of has me a little bit concerned. Like maybe we're missing out on a great Batman death. As much as I want it to happen, sometimes you can't be selfish, and for the betterment of the story, you got to see what you got. But I love this idea. Also, though, Scotty, I'm going to ask both of you guys this. We'll start with Scotty. Do you think that if you do this, do you think there's a point though where audiences might get too confused if you have too many Batman going on? Side point, Sam Raimi, Thomas Wayne Batman story. Anyway, but do you think that if there's too many Batmans going on, people will be like, they'll just lose interest and say, I'm done?
I don't think so, because they're isolated enough where like our Batmans are going to end up being like Keaton, Affleck, and Pattinson, which Pattinson's probably not going to be involved at all. So at the most, you'll have Keaton as an aged Batman. Batfleck could do his trilogy still, who knows? And then just an older Thomas Wayne Batman. But if it's all in that DC Flashpoint type of a universe, they can make it work. It just has to be written well. I feel like the time that they've put into this Flash movie, dude, if this scripting and everything's not like the Batman level scripting, I'm going to have a problem with it. This movie is so hard to nail with the time travel, with the butterfly effects, like all the things they got to balance, man. And then add on to that all of the off-screen distractions and everything they've had to deal with, delays, Ezra's personal issues, like it's kind of a mess. There's a lot of pressure on this Flash situation, in my opinion.
Yeah, you might be right, Steve.
I'm at a point where just get the Flash movie out of it.
Yes.
Just get it out. I don't care what shape or form it's in. Just get it out and then sort everything else out afterwards.
I mean, we're getting into like Black Widow territory here. Like the movie's luster is going to lose its shine, and we're just going to be like, okay, cool. That was a good Flash movie. Instead of like, yo, that was Flashpoint. They just reset everything. Let's go. Like anything is possible. I want to have anything possible after Flash.
I want to go back into the chat on Plonky here. I hope I'm saying your name right. With the comeback of the Snyderverse, they have to be quick for doing Batfleck movie because Flash is supposed to happen after that. And the Flash is launching Justice League 2 with the jump into the boom tube to the Plunky's from Belgium. Hi from Belgium. To the nightmare. So I've heard that Ben Affleck is not going to die. His Bruce Wayne will not die, but he's going to get jettisoned to to the future somehow. And it is the nightmare sequence that we see in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Look, as much as I want to see that happen, I kind of want to see it happen organically the way that it was played out in Zack Snyder's Justice League, with Superman being the cause of it all, the cause and effect of everything that we have going on. I like that. I kind of don't want to just throw Ben Affleck into it. That being said, if the only way we get there is by doing this, then I'm okay with it. But I would like to see it happen. I would like to see like Lois Lane go down. Like I play Injustice. I love the Injustice game, and that starts with the Joker killing Lois Lane, and that's what sets Superman off. And I would love to see the catalyst of it all, like what sets Superman off. We know what it is, but I would kind of like to see that play out. Scotty, I'll start with you again. What do you make of these comments?
I was gonna say, now that I'm thinking of it, it actually makes sense to me because we don't know any of this stuff, but neither did Ben Affleck's character. Like he woke up in that nightmare, so we don't know exactly how it all played out. We do know that Lois Lane got killed, etc., etc. But with the Joker's look being different, and dare I say, like Cyborg looked different, a bunch of the characters had a different type of look. They could just say that they're like variants, and it's a separate timeline that he does get sent to. That would be crazy if they just were like, okay, Ben, now you're going to be the Batman that saves this timeline or whatever. That'd be cool. With the boom tube possible.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, if that's a great way to get there, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah. So I love the nightmare stuff. I was watching Batman v Superman again, and I'm just like, oh man, I want to watch this more. And then I always watch that end scene. And Jared Leto was never my favorite Joker, but that end scene with Batman and the Joker is one of my. I think it's shot beautifully, but I love that scene. Deathstroke. It's just the whole thing.
I forgot he's there.
Yeah, I'm like, let's do it all. I'm like,
Mhm.
I would totally revel in that. I love the aesthetic of it. I'm just like, let's bring it. But with that, let's go to our final email question for the day. And this kind of ties in anyway. Hi, Digital Charcuterie. I heard a theory that Supergirl will be the daughter of Christopher Reeves, Superman, and Margot Kidder. I think this is possible. Thanks, Argyle Smith. Thank you, Argyle. Okay, so this is a theory going around, and somebody I put a post up this morning to kind of promote the show today, and somebody mentioned, isn't Brandon Routh the same Superman as Christopher Reeves? And technically, yes, but also no. But also, when you're dealing with a multiverse, doesn't have to be, right? Exactly, Steve.
It hurts.
Exactly. But when you're dealing with a multiverse, you can separate them. And then Scotty, I heard you say something about like they have the same hair color, and that's basically where that.
Oh, that's what I said about the thumbnail. I'm like, their hair is the same.
But like, so I'm very conflicted on it because in the comic they have Lois and Clark have a son named John Kent, right? And it kind of works. And in the comic, Superman is dormant for a while, and they honor Superman. And now we're not going to get that necessarily because Henry Cavill is not going to be Superman in the Flash, or maybe he is, but it's just in TV. We don't really know what's going on. So I think it makes sense. I don't think that's going to happen. But I like it though, because it's a connective tissue. And the one thing I was thinking though, guys, is we get Michael Keaton showing up in this one as Bruce Wayne / Batman. So, but that's the Burtonverse is what it's referred to, right? However, if you remember, Tim Burton was going to direct Superman with Nicolas Cage. Didn't happen, right? However, in that movie, I remember being on a bus on my way to a gym class one day. We're going to go play like dodgeball or something somewhere off in high school. And I heard on the radio that there was word going out that Michael Keaton was going to play Bruce Wayne in a cameo in Tim Burton's Superman movie, which got me thinking, what if that Supergirl, and the way this could work out is if that Supergirl lives in the Burtonverse and Christopher Reeve's Superman is a Burtonverse Superman. That to me is how you get that to connect. But I still am not fully on board with it. But Scotty, what do you think? Steve, you keep pondering.
So then what's stopping Nicolas Cage from being the dad in this universe with that logic?
If Tom Cruise shows up as Iron Man and Doctor Strange, we get Nicolas Cage as Superman. There you go.
What's the benefit of her being that? Like I mean, it's nice, it's cool, you can connect it, but I don't see how it really makes the story any better.
The only way it would, to me, is if you do that as a tribute to Christopher Reeves, who cannot be a part of this story. Because I think if Christopher Reeves was still with us, they would somehow try to include him, right? And I think that is your workaround of kind of respecting Christopher Reeves and the Superman that he brought. And that was the first real superhero we got on to be a big success, big blockbuster, right? That's kind of how you do it. If that's what they want to do, I don't know if that's what they want to do. So, Steve, that's the way I would look at it. I mean, it doesn't make complete sense. I don't other than that, it's pointless.
So
seems like a long way to go for a short cup of coffee.
Welcome to DC.
And I'm curious, and maybe the chat will help me with this, but I'm getting hints of the sequel trilogy, and if they superimpose a Palpatine or a Skywalker into the, that's literally a descendant of the other Superman, is that going to diminish, you know what I mean? Like, take away the shine of Christopher Reeves in a way. I don't know. But I'm getting like, you don't have to do a tribute just to do a tribute. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. I would need really solid reasonings as to why she would be a child of Christopher Reeves. Now, like relative or sure, like same lineage, bloodline.
Could it be a
crash ship,
a granddaughter?
something? Right.
I'm thinking like the age and everything,
Yeah.
It's just
the son or the daughter of the son of him.
Yes.
Do that.
Yeah. And then we have hi from Mexico. Hi. And we have
hola.
I'm trying to bring I'm trying to bring this into the thing, but it won't let me. Let me see what we have here. Bam, there we go. It's better to be Cage as Soups in Burtonverse because Reeves Soups is Brandon Routh, and I don't think he'll be in it. We have to see old Soups as the old man. I think Nicolas Cage would make sense, but I don't know if people would. I don't know if people would appreciate that. Do you know what I mean? Like, are there? I mean, there was a documentary by John Schnepp, but is there enough people that know that Nicolas Cage was supposed to be Superman? Like, would that work out? Because then you get really confusing. I just think the only reason this works for me on any level is because Christopher Reeves can't be. Otherwise, but also, I mean, also just maybe let Supergirl be Supergirl. And then in this universe and in the Burtonverse or whatever verse this is, it's just Supergirl. And there's no Superman in that universe. It's just Supergirl. I'm also okay with that. But at the same time, I would really like a Superman, Supergirl together in a movie at some point. Maybe, could you imagine if she shows up in the Nightmare show or something? Like at some point, and that's like she comes back. Her role in Injustice 2, I was like, Supergirl was utilized very well in that plot point because she's kind of like on Superman's side when she shows up because her ship goes left instead of right, and she goes missing in space for a while, and she ends up. But then she realizes that Superman's gone psycho, right? And so anyway, it's a great storyline, and I would like to see something like that play out.
So good.
Yeah, and I think something that could work in this Nightmare sequence because it's the same. It's evil Superman, so you need someone like Batman can't. As much as I love Batman, he cannot go up against Superman, especially when Superman's evil. There's none of the Justice League other than maybe Wonder Woman has a shot there.
If the world is the way it is, if Superman goes bad, would Bruce Wayne still have all his money to be able to build a anti-Superman suit to fight him? You know what I mean? Like if this might be more bare bones Batman and doesn't have the ability to go toe to toe with Superman. So see your point where you need somebody to get in there.
Yeah, you do. And I think this is a fun theory, but I think it's one that doesn't have much traction unless you bring Nicolas Cage in. I don't think it has much traction other than that though, because like I said, I love it. It's a lot of fun. But most of this stuff is fun. That's what these movies are all about, right? It's just having a good time, sitting back and enjoy them. And I hope it happens. I hope we get the Nightmare stuff at least from the Snyderverse. That's what my hope is. Justice League 1 and 2 would be nice, but I think that might be what the Nightmare thing is. That might be like a makeshift Justice League, and they might just call it that, and it might not be that. But that's what I hope for. I want it, but first things first. Scott, I think they got to release the Ayer cut just for you. You should get a private link to the Ayer cut just to watch it. Then you can.
He just talked about it again. He did. Well, he kind of got thrown into it though, and then he definitely did. Did you see he put in an emoji? But if you were on Android, like the emoji was like different from iPhone. Yes,
he was like,
yes.
He's like, that's
everybody thought that he was putting the awkward one up, but cringe. Everyone thought he put up the cringe one, but he was being appreciative.
He was blushing. Yeah, that was so funny. I like that one. Oh, I loved it. All right, let's wrap this show up. I think we've come to an end here. We've had a fun talk. Thank you all in the chat. Again, if you have an email question, email us at digitalcharcuterie@gmail.com, and we will talk about that either if it's Superhero one on Tuesdays. Anything else we'll talk about on Fridays because it's a lot of fun. Steve, thanks for joining me. I know you have nothing really to plug right now, so I'm just going to thank Scotty.
I'm working on it.
You're working on. We're going to see Morbius in a week. So in a week and a bit, we're going to see Morbius, and we will have a out of theater reaction where our minds are blown at that movie. But Scotty, you've got a YouTube channel. Why don't you plug that?
Yeah, it's Hawks Holocrons on YouTube, also on Instagram. You guys can reach out on Twitter, DM. I'm very responsive on there. But yeah, man, like restore the Snyderverse, release the air cut, let creators create. Like, you know, and like another big thing in my channel, man, comics are canon. Retcon is not a dirty word. I promise. You'll be okay. Retcon's not a dirty word. It's just retellings. They happen all the time.
All the time.
It's not a big deal.
Actually, we've got some of our best stories because of retcons
Yes.
and retellings.
I
In
agree.
fact, the only Mr. Freeze anybody knows is because they retold his story in the animated series. And that has, and that's
insane, man.
lived on for almost 30 years now. So there you go. It's not bad. But thank you so much. Give him a subscribe. Give us a like and a subscribe. Also, if you're new to the channel, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. But that's it. It's Tuesday. We'll be back again some other time to do more talking because we love it. And until then, may you be the master of your own universe.
Okay.